Hey guys, welcome to Fantasy Effect episode 46. We got a little bit of a 24 rookie preview. We're brought to you by Dynasty Theory in partnership with Dynasty Daddy, and as always, Fantasy Football Infinity. I've got Howler and McSpanky with me tonight. We're still on baby watch.
I was gonna say I was pleasantly surprised when Holler was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be on the show tonight." I was like, "Heck yeah, man!"
Yes, nothing
but
yet.
Also sad for you.
Yeah, all things are good though, so no worries. We saw the doc on Monday, so everything's good. Wife's good. We're just
good.
Impatiently waiting.
Yeah, that's a tough waiting game. That is for sure.
It's hard with the first one too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
should we hop right into the news?
Is Friday, I think. So I'll give you guys some more updates if he's not here yet.
Do it. It's happening tomorrow. But anyway, let's hop right into the news. Fields is expected to start. We got Muth on track to play. Deshaun Watson's season-ending shoulder surgery.
So Justin Fields, finally, I feel like my DJ Moore shares can rest easy, and I feel like I can slide him back into the lineups. The Freiermuth news is a little surprising, just because it sounded like he was like, because he missed a week, right, and then he went on IR, and it sounded like it was not great. So, but that should help Kenny Pickett. I'm still not super stoked about anybody on that offense, but it is what it is.
No.
And then Deshaun Watson, that's disappointing. The whole situation is just not fun.
I just call that karma.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, I feel like this is like karma or something. But I'm also really surprised about Muth. I threw him on my IR, like, whenever he went on IR, and I just figured, okay, he's gonna be a while before he comes back. And then I was going through my teams, and I saw he had projected points. I'm like, oh, okay, let me look into this a little bit more. And he's like, I guess he's coming back, but I don't know if he'll end up playing. So that will be something to watch.
But it sounds like at least next week, if it's not this week, right?
So which is cool.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yes, indeed.
Just how bad tight end has been. It's nice to get a better tight end back.
The tight ends are brutal, and then Dallas Goedert got hurt, and it's just like the whole situation is just horrendous.
Yep. Same here, Greg. Happy to have 0 shares of Watson as well.
Yeah, I have multiple shares, multiple cares. So that's rough.
Well, in his place, you can start with Dorian Thompson Robinson, DTR for short here.
I will not do.
Thank you. You're welcome. You get the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend. Have fun, buddy.
So I have some shares of him on some some rebuilds. I just got him off waivers or earlier here in late. So I probably will start him. There's no reason not to, just because I think I've been starting like other low end wide receivers or just people that are not scoring many points. So I don't really care either way. But yeah, if you're looking for a quarterback to start, he's not the one I'm looking for if my team is competing, that's for sure.
No, like he was pretty bad the last time he started.
Yeah.
I think he threw like 3 interceptions.
Yeah, and that's why PJ Walker was playing. So I'm kind of surprised they're going they're playing. PJ Walker's played well, so I'm really surprised they're going to him.
Too bad they don't have Josh Dobbs still, right?
Yeah, man. Whoopsies.
Made a slight boo-boo there.
Oh, man. So many teams. There's 9 teams we could say this for about Josh Dobbs, apparently. It's been to 9 teams.
Yep.
But definitely the Cleveland Browns could really use Josh Dobbs at a time like this.
I'm super surprised that I think I said it already, but very surprised PJ Walker is not playing because he has played well and their team is their defense is really good. So they must see some more upside with DTR. I don't really know. I don't see it, but I'm hoping maybe we can see something this weekend. And then, but I think it'll probably go back and forth between the two. to be honest. And
he went over 50% completion percentage only one time in his 3 starts. So like he didn't play like great, but he played better than Thompson Robinson did. So
that's all I'm saying. Is I'm not saying he's not anything great. It just I feel like he's been able to move them down the field a little bit, actually put some points up, and I think he's actually kept them in games more than. And I know DTR's only played 1 game, so we'll see this weekend.
I think part of it too is that like they want to see what they have in DTR, like especially for an extended period of time, and they have really good defense. Like I think they're just like.
Yep, I'm with you, Wes. I feel like we can say that about any team that is like a little quarterback needy. Any team that he was on.
Yeah.
Dobbs on the Steelers would. Although Matt, I think that's more of a Matt Canada problem. So I don't know if he would have necessarily helped.
Yeah, that's true.
It
would have been tough for him to succeed with Canada. Maybe Canada would look like a good OC if Josh Dobbs was there. Anyway, we'll skip that theoretical stuff. Should we pop into this 24 rookie class preview?
Let's go.
All right. So let's get into these quarterbacks.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We put together a huge list of players here. I think we probably have about 50 names. So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna get everybody familiar with some of the players. I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna read the list of the quarterbacks, and then we can talk about any of the ones that stand out to us. So these are all guys who are potentially eligible to come out. We'll start Caleb Williams from USC, Drake May from North Carolina, Bo Nix, he's my boy, from Oregon, Michael Penix Jr. from Washington, J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan, Shader Sanders out of Colorado, Jaden Daniels, LSU, Carson Beck, Georgia, Cam Ward, Washington State, Quinn Ewers, Texas, and Jordan Travis from Florida State. Who stands out to you guys here in this group?
So obviously we have a top 2 guys. We Spanky and I, you talked about this on our couple months ago on our Debbie. But Caleb Williams, Drake May. But the one guy that kind of started to grow on me is Michael Penix. I know he's a little bit older, but he is just a gamer. I think it will depend on where he goes. Recently, I think it was not, I don't know if it was a very reliable source, but I think they were saying how cool it would be to have him stay in Washington and go to Seattle and play behind Geno maybe for a year or something. And I think that would be really cool. But to me, with Penix, is if he goes to a good spot, I think he could be really good in the NFL. He's got some growing pains he needs to go through, I think, still. But I've liked a lot what I've seen from him this year. Just completing games, comebacks. There's been quite a few games where he's done some good things, and I haven't really seen any huge mistakes. Not many flops I've seen. So a lot of things that I when I was looking at things over the summer, I've seen some of the things that he. Some of the knocks on him was injuries, so he couldn't complete a season. Well, he's completed every game so far, and then I think he's growing. So I that's one guy that I like a lot.
How do you feel about Penix's age? Because I like him too, but this is his 6th year in college right now, and some of that was injuries, and also he got an extra year for the COVID year. But
so that is one big worry. But to be honest, I feel like with the quarterback, it's okay to be a little bit older. Right, sure. It's kind of the total opposite of the running backs.
Well, maturity.
Yeah, so he's going to be a little more mature, but I still think that was one knock on him when I was looking at him over the summer, is that he needed to grow a little bit, and I think we're seeing that this year a lot, right? And so I'm not too worried about his age. Obviously we don't. I like if you I like him young, right? So so it would.
Somebody call it. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god!
But no. But no. I mean, it's I don't know. I like Michael Penix a lot.
That's good.
His name just has to rhyme with a unit, huh?
So I want to talk about Bo Nix for a second, because he's kind of been my boy. He's the reason he's on the cover. I know Ron hates him, but
I don't.
Bo Nix
listen,
is awesome.
I don't hate.
No,
I don't
you
hate
do,
Bo
and
Nix.
it's fine.
I don't hate Bo Nix. Whatever.
Back
freckle.
I just wanted to talk about a little bit. So I have a quarterback model, and we'll get into it in the offseason when we do an in-depth preview on these guys. But basically, some of the things it favors is adjusted completion percentage, passer rating, yards per attempt, and all of those he is in the top, 75 percentile or above, including adjusted completion percentage. He's in the top 95th percentile, which is awesome. And
that's
then
good.
So all of the efficiency and is he like a good quarterback metrics? He's super, super good in. Some of his production hasn't always been there. It's been kind of average for like for the quarterbacks that have come out of college in the last 7 years. But he makes basically what I get from that is he's a good decision maker. He puts up enough numbers. He's honestly, after he got out of Auburn, he's been awesome. And so I think part of that was Auburn was just such a train wreck. Like he was trying to do too much there, and he didn't have enough surrounding talent. Whereas in Oregon, he's got a good system. He has talent around him. He's grown. Similar to like I don't want to compare him to Kenny Pickett and how like the later stages of his career he got better, but that's kind of the similar trajectory. I think he's better than Pickett is, but and I think Ron, I think we had talked about potentially doing like a little like water bet about whether or not Bo Nix goes in the first round, and I am saying he is going to go in the first round of the NFL draft.
That is correct, and I am saying he will not go in the first round for some of the things you highlighted. He's kind of just a good decision maker and gets the ball to the right place, which is all fine and dandy. I don't really hate Bo Nix by any sense of the means, but he's definitely not going in the first round because I think he's just an average meh kind of quarterback, and he can operate your offense, and you don't take guys like that in the first round.
He's surprisingly athletic too, actually.
Yeah, he is.
And so, I think so outside of Drake May and Caleb Williams, I think all of these quarterbacks we're going to talk about, or that we have talked about, they're system dependent, and depending on where they go. I think Bo Nix would be perfect for San Francisco if they decide that Brock Purdy's not their guy and they want like an upgrade at the quarterback position at the back end of the first round. Like I think Bo Nix would be phenomenal there.
Sure.
So my little question for you, Ron, is who do you like other than, so after our big two guys, to me it's all like could go anywhere in my opinion.
Jaden Daniels.
So I like the little segue here. So what is it that you like more of Jaden Daniels than Bo Nix? I'm with Spanky. I like Bo Nix a lot. I did not like him at all when he was at Auburn, and I think he's had two really good, like 1.5.
He's flourished really nicely.
Yeah, he's done really well in Oregon. So, sway me on why Jaden Daniels.
I think he's improved, throughout his entire career. We've seen it every single year. He's taken steps forward. I think that's something I would like to see out of quarterbacks. He succeeded at Arizona State, and now he's doing it at LSU. He does have a lot of talent around him at LSU, but it's also the SEC. He's not going up against Pac-12 defenses where defense is optional. And he's got both things. He can beat you with his arm. He can beat you with his legs. Kind of excited to see where he goes. And I just think he has a little bit more athleticism than what Bo Nix has.
Sure.
And that just seems to be the way things are leaning. They're leaning towards quarterbacks more like Jaden Daniels than they are anything else. And that's kind of why I think he could be, up into the late end of the first round of the NFL draft at this point.
Honestly, like he's put up pretty good numbers. He plays in the SEC. He's like an athletic freak. There's a decent chance that he could be like one of those guys that when they have a he might have won the Heisman, but if he has a stellar pro day where he runs some like stupid numbers, or he makes those ridiculous, one-footed throws across his body, 80 yards downfield or whatever, that people are gonna be like, oh my god, and the next thing you know, he's a top 10 quarterback. So
exactly,
there's a path there. I'm not fully on board yet, but I can definitely see it.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm not fully on board yet. I need to maybe watch a little bit more of him, but I think right after those top two guys, like it's wide open right now.
It really is.
So,
it really is.
And I've seen JJ McCarthy up there as the third quarterback, and I'm not on board with that.
I don't understand it. Like he's not good. Like he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
I see him as like a day 2 or 3 quarterback. Same. Not a first round guy at all. I could, and I honestly don't even see Michael Penix as a day 1 guy to be honest. I think it's possible. But I just think people are worried about his age, like we've talked about already. And so I can see Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels are the next 2 guys in my opinion that would sneak into that first round.
Yeah,
for sure. I think it just depends on how many teams are quarterback needy come draft time, and if they're willing to pay the paper on the first round draft capital.
Definitely. And we touched on it before the show, but we all think that Shedeur is going back to Colorado so he won't be in this draft class for most likely. And Quinn Ewers has already said that he's going to stay in school as well.
That one's surprising.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised about that too. I wanted to see him come out this year. Maybe he just sees Caleb and Drake sitting at the top, and next year is a little less talented.
I think part of it is that he hasn't been able to stay healthy for a full year. And then two, I think I was more just surprised because I feel like Texas kind of maybe wanted him out so they could put Arch Manning in there.
Well, they didn't even start him with Arch when he was hurt, though. When Quinn was hurt, they started the other guy, Murphy.
We will we don't need to segue into 2026, but
okay.
JJ McCarthy, I like that. I don't like that, but that's a good little
be a very similar offense. They just really love to run the ball, going from Harbaugh to Shanahan. So
I don't see McCarthy
running backs
better than Purdy though, in my opinion.
This running back class is a little gross, but I'm gonna read.
Alert! Stay away from running backs in the 2024 rookie draft.
I'm gonna hit the names that we put down here. So Travion Henderson, Ohio State; Braylon Allen, Wisconsin; Trey Benson, Florida State; Jonathan Brooks, Texas. We do think he's gonna go back to school. Blake Corum from Michigan; Donovan Edwards from Michigan; Will Shipley, Clemson; Bucky Irving, Oregon; Devin Neal, Kansas; Raheem Sanders, Arkansas; and then Audric Estime from Notre Dame. Any guys stand out to you guys there?
So for my guy is he's kind of like a late, maybe third, fourth round. I think he'll probably end up going in the third round of a rookie draft. So my little spiel on the running backs this year, to me, they all are really dependent on where they go. So draft capital and also where they're going to go, which team, right?
Sure.
Obviously, we've seen it in the NFL now. There's 2 running backs that most teams use. So that it's not too worried about it. But somebody that I really like that has had a really, really good progression this year is Devin Neal. Last year, he was more of a 1B, and he was more the pass catcher. And this year, Kansas has used him in the as their number 1 running back, right? And so he's got 965 yards on 155 carries and then 10 touchdowns. So he's had some really good big runs as well. And so that's somebody we did a deeper Debbie, and that's somebody I picked up after I had quite a few guys. And he's somebody I like as a later running back that could probably end up having carve out a good role on a team.
Devin Neal is the guy I've liked since he was a true freshman. Coming out of high school, I think he was a 4-star prospect, and everyone was like, "Why did he go to Kansas? What the heck?" But he stepped in there as a true freshman. He did awesome. He had 700 yards and 8 touchdowns as a true freshman. He's basically produced every single year he's been there. He's gotten better. He's gotten bigger workloads. He's a solid player. I really hope he gets draft capital because I think he's a solid running back. That's a good call out.
The only things that some of his weaknesses are, and I've actually seen it a couple times this year, he's not that home run threat that we all love, right? So that's why I think him really depends on the draft capital. And even if, in my opinion, if he doesn't get it, then you're gonna get him pretty cheap in the 3rd or 4th round of a rookie draft, right? And then he's not the best in pass block. So he really needs to. It's hard to watch that, and you're not really going to be watching that in games. So I haven't really seen it, but I'll have to look at some more. But what I like from his is he's getting better every year, and so he's really a much better runner this year and last year, and he was a better pass catcher, and that's not going anywhere, right? So he's my late guy.
Yeah, he's one of the few running backs in this class that I feel like kind of has a little bit of everything. I feel like a lot of them, when I look at some of these running backs like Blake Corum or Audric Estime or Travion Henderson, even, I'm just can you get more passing work? That would really be nice if you could catch the ball too. They're great runners, but they don't really get any passing work, and it's hard too because it's some of these offenses are kind of specializing their running backs where they have they're more like their bruiser, and then they have their pass catching guy until you're seeing fewer guys who can do both.
Another guy that can only do one thing. He kind of reminds me of it's not the best not good to be a comp of this, but Braylon Allen is like an AJ Dillon, right? Like just big running back, and I think I'm hoping he'll be better, but I haven't really seen it. This was a guy I was like, oh sweet, I think he's gonna be really good. And I grabbed him on a Devy. It's like, oh awesome, but really I haven't seen much out of him at all, and that's why I call out like AJ Dillon with him, is because AJ Dillon's just meh, and so I think Braylon Allen could be that as well, right? And so
he's
I think there could be more
position.
Yeah,
he transitioned from linebacker.
Yeah, yeah. I just heard that today actually.
He's
I like Trey Benson from Florida State. Florida State's been the apple of everybody's eye. They're having a great season, this year. I've been watching a lot of Florida State games on Saturdays. I just think he's a fine running back. I don't think he's anything, any type of world beater or anything. But if he got the draft capital, I think I would see myself taking a few shares.
So the one thing I wanted to bring up, do you feel confident spending a first round rookie pick in any of these backs? Like, I know obviously it's dependent on draft capital, but like say you had a pre-draft rookie draft, like I don't think I could do it with any of these guys.
I was thinking like later than mid 2, honestly.
I'm 100%
how many wide receivers and quarterbacks that we think are coming out.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with that. There's nobody really there that we had the Travion Henderson that we thought was going to be really good. Like Raheem Sanders, we all thought was going to be really good. And so like I said it before,
to be fair.
Yes, that's fair. But I said before, stay away from running back this year. I will not take one in the first round. And obviously, depending on where I'm at, I will probably start to grab some in the second round, depending on draft capital. But really, stay away. Scoop up all those wide receivers.
Man,
sorry. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, man, Travion Henderson's profile scares the shit out of me. Like he kind of is like this year's version of like Kayshon Boutte, where he was awesome as a freshman, and then just kind of was kind of ho hum, and you just kept waiting for him to do something, and it's like, oh, he's got the athleticism, he's great, and it's just like, well, he's not doing it. So what's the problem? Like, and it's not the talent around him. He's got a great offensive line. He's got a great quarterback and receivers around him. Like, it's something's not. There's some red flags triggering.
He gets beat up a lot.
He's been hurt quite a bit these last 2 years. Like,
every time I tune into an Ohio State game, I feel like he, either hurt.
I don't even
the entire game.
Like,
in the Midwest, I get a ton holler. That's why.
And even in his like big games, like the Notre Dame game, for example, like I think he went over 100 yards, but because he had one run that was like a 68-yard touchdown run, so it was like, okay, he was fine the rest of the time. He hit the home run, and good for him for doing it. But
I
don't know.
That's what I was going to say. Is I've seen one good run from Travion Henderson this year, and unfortunately, sorry, Spanky, it was in that Notre Dame game.
It's ingrained right here.
But I'm going to let everybody else take him. If I get him in the middle of the second round, which obviously I don't think is going to happen, because unfortunately, I think he will be the first one that comes off the board unless something else happens in an NFL draft. But he's probably the, in quotations, the best running back out of this class.
Yeah, I've seen him as basically the consensus one, and I'm not sold on it.
Yep.
Yeah. No thanks. We move on to the wide receivers. The stuff everybody's excited about.
Yeah. This is a good list. All right. Marvin Harrison Jr., Ohio State. Malik Neighbors, LSU. Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. Keon Coleman, Florida State. Rome Odunze from Washington. Xavier Worthy, Texas. Troy Franklin, Oregon. Adonai Mitchell from Texas. Xavier Leggett from South Carolina. Johnny Wilson, Florida State. Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, the other LSU receiver. Ladd McConkey, Georgia. Roman Wilson, Michigan. Malachi Corley, he's a lesser-known guy out of Western Kentucky, small school guy. Tez Walker from North Carolina. Jalen Polk from Washington. Jalen McMillan, Washington. Torrey Horton, Colorado State. And then finally Will Shepard out of Vanderbilt. What names stick out to you there?
So from the beginning, my guy's been Malik Neighbors. Obviously, we all know about him. He's really good. I think he was a little bit lower on Spanky's board back in the summer.
Yeah, he's grown on me.
He's played amazing this year. I threw some numbers up for him. 72 receptions, 1,284 yards, 10 touchdowns, and he's the clear wide receiver number 2 right? Super athletic, great route runner. And then some of his concerns before the season was about his longevity, right? Not being able to play in every game. He's played in every single game. He's only had 3 games under 100 yards this year. So give me all the Malik neighbors, please.
That's the thing, man. Like, the impressive thing with him is that, like, everyone knows he's the guy at LSU, and he's continuing to produce. Like, it doesn't matter how much attention he gets. He's just good, and you love to see that kind of like dominating receiver. And LSU has a pretty good track record of producing NFL wide receivers.
They do.
I called it LSU wide receiver factory number 2, right? Because obviously we all know about Ohio State.
Somebody was listing off all the great wide receivers that were at LSU, and Terrace Marshall got put on the list, and I was like,
well, you know the funny thing about Terrace Marshall is that he was supposed to be better than like Jefferson and Chase, and like all of them. Like, he was the one that was like hyped up, and so it's funny how these things work out sometimes.
Yeah, so it really is.
In fairness, he was really good in college, so.
Well, I mean, when Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are the other 2 guys running around, I mean, who's left to cover anybody?
Us 3 could potentially get open in that offense.
Right, true. Man. I'm scoring touchdowns, dude. I tell you what, if I could catch the ball, though. I like Keon Coleman on this list. Big old 6'4", 216, just jump ball winner. And he's got a little yak to him. He returns punts at 6'4", and he almost houses the punt returns, dude.
Yeah,
like,
he's stupid
you would not
athletic.
think I can't wait to see this dude in the NFL. Like, just freaky. I love it. I love watching him play.
The concern I always have is like those big body, like athletic freak guys. Like, my mind immediately goes to guys like Kevin White and just some of these like big like bust who got like the kind of the more of the 1-year wonder, like, because he didn't do jack at Michigan State and he was at Florida State. Now he's doing awesome. Like, it's a
Let
little.
me tell you about the quarterback play at Michigan State.
Trust me, I've watched plenty of Michigan State. I'm aware.
Yeah. Juan's out there throwing passes.
So he's kind of been up there as like wide receiver 3 right now, and I have him down at 5 on like my wide receiver rankings. I have a Rome, Odunze up there as number 3, and then Egbuka up there at 4. Egbuka is one I'm a little, I don't want to say worried, but I've not been as like, I'm more surprised at how like lackluster he's been this year. Right? You would think he would be okay with everybody knowing how good Marvin Harrison Jr. is, being that number 2 guy. I think he's been in and out of games.
Got banged up for a while.
But still, I just think I haven't seen him. I think maybe he's had 1 or 2 good games. I just haven't seen him. I thought he was going to be like, have a couple really good games or more, because everyone knows about Marvin Harrison.
I think part of the problem is I don't think Kyle McCord is as good as he was kind of thought to be, and he already has like a really good, like, because I mean he played high school ball with Marvin Harrison, so like I think
who he threw the ball to in high school.
I think it's just like he just gets locked on to Harrison, and then he's like, oh, I don't need to throw it to anyone else because he's gonna moss everyone. So kind of gets the leftovers. And they run the ball a lot because they're a good team and they've been up in pretty much every game.
So I mean, I still like him, right? I think this is a very, very deep wide receiver class, so I still like him a lot. So I'm not too worried about him. I think he'll be really good, like number 2, 3 receiver.
Real quick, how many wide receivers go in the first round of the draft this year, like the NFL draft?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think 5 too. I think 5's the number.
I'm 6.
6? Oh, okay.
6.
My 6th one is Worthy, because he's right on that cusp there, I think. Okay. So, and I think because how bad running back is, I would hope teams would rather. You never know. Obviously, I'm not a general manager, so I would hope they would go with a more upside player in like Xavier Worthy than they would just say, "Oh, let me grab a running back just because."
From what I've seen, basically Marvin Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze are like pretty locked and loaded in the first round, and then Egbuka and Coleman and Worthy I've seen kind of mocked in there as well.
Yeah, that was going to be my 5 is like a wild card. Like
if
Worthy, Mitchell,
I've seen Mitchell get mocked up.
Ryan Thomas is freaking like a huge, just kind of
Thomas's numbers are almost as good as Neighbors.
They are.
Yeah, so, and who's throwing them the ball, right? Dude.
That's your boy. That's your boy, Jack Thomas.
Who else we like? I like Tez Walker. I know there's a little bit of concerns there, but I like his profile. Very big running back. I think he's obviously not going to be like this number one wide receiver at all by any means, but I think he'll be a field stretcher, right? Somebody that can get up and jump up there and grab the ball. I think he would have a lot better numbers, but he had that issue with the NCAA. But the last, let's see,
free Tez.
Yeah.
Free Tez.
He's in 6 games, he's had 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. So basically, he's averaging 100 yards and a touchdown every game.
Yeah,
so it's
wish they would have freed him earlier. Yeah,
pretty darn good, right? So he's one I like. I know there are a little bit of concerns, but he's one I like that you probably can get later. And then another guy I like as well. He's been injured, only played 3 games, but Jalen McMillan. We talked about it before. He may go back to school. We haven't really seen any news yet. Obviously, it's a little bit early, but I'm hoping if he gets back on the field, I think it was last game I was watching, and they were saying that they were hoping he would play, but he didn't end up playing. So I think he's on like around the corner from coming back. So I really would love to see what he does when he does come back, because there's 3, almost 4 really good wide receivers there in Washington. So
sure. The one I really like is Troy Franklin out of Oregon. Dude's a monster. He's skinny. Don't get me wrong. He makes Devontae Smith look like a muscle man. But he's so fast. He's a touchdown machine. He's scored 11 touchdowns already, and I think they're 10 games at Oregon. He's got over 1,000 yards already on the season. And he's done it against everyone. It hasn't just been because sometimes these guys who put up monster numbers, it's like, oh well, yeah, they did it against Hawaii, and it's like, well, cool, good for them. Right. But no, he's doing it against everyone. He's just dominating. I really like Troy Franklin. I don't think he's going to get into the first round, but I do think he's a top 50 guy. I think he's top end of the second round, which is more than good enough for me.
Yep, I'm 100% with you. That's one guy that I was like, I don't know about it when we talked about guys over the summer, me and you, Spanky, and I watched a lot of him, and I really, really like him a lot. He's small, but part of me feels like he's very fast, but part of me feels like those small guys will get on an NFL team, and then he'll get kind of pressured into gaining weight and get bigger. Obviously, he's not going to grow, but I think he'll get more muscular, obviously. And so I think he'll be all right.
Here's the thing, though, with him is he's skinny, but he's a strong body. If you watch him go up at contested catches, he can do it. It's not like he's getting shoved around out there. He just has a smaller frame, which more and more guys in the NFL are. So.
Should we move on to the tight ends real quick?
Yes, not as big of a list here. Brock Bowers from Georgia, Jatavion Sanders, Texas, Ben Sinnott from Kansas State, and then Cade Stover out of Ohio State.
So obviously we all know about Brock Bowers. Yeah. Do not pass on Brock Bowers. I don't want to hear that he's but Kyle Pitts. No, they're not the same. It hurts. I get it, but they're not the same. I think it will depend again a little bit where he goes, but there's only one Arthur Smith, so don't worry. He's not going to Atlanta. So
he could.
He could, but I don't think he's going there. So Brock Bowers, for me, he's number 4 overall on my big board for all rookies, right? I'd take him number 4 every day, all day. And then one guy I do like, he's, doesn't have the numbers, but I like he's a very big body, Jatavion Sanders. There's not very many tight ends here, but I think he in a tight end 2 premium, or even 1.5 points. I think he could sneak in the end of the first round of a rookie draft.
Sure. The one I highlighted here is Ben Sinnott from Kansas State. He's a guy that he doesn't get a ton of recognition, but I think in the offseason, when people start doing their rookie draft prep, he's going to be a guy that rises up draft boards, and I think people are going to like him. He's 6'4", 245. He's a really solid athlete. He's a good receiver. He's a solid blocker, too, which I think is going to help his draft capital. He plays at Kansas State, so not a lot of people are going to be like, oh, who's this guy? They kind of don't have the best offense either, but he's a good receiver. I think he's going to be a solid tight end in the league, and I think he'll get day 2 draft capital.
Sure. Is there no Iowa tight ends coming out this year?
There is. But I think he got hurt.
Guy.
Luke
did he get
Lachey,
Luke Lachey, yeah.
Okay.
And then
he got banged up, yeah.
Jaheim Bell, is he coming out? Do we know? from Florida State.
I don't think he's declared yet, but he is eligible to come out, and
Yeah.
he's done fairly well too.
Yeah. So there's a couple other guys. I mean, we know for sure Sanat's coming out. We know for sure Jatavion Sanders is coming out and Brock Bowers. So
Cade Stover from Ohio State.
Yeah, and Cade Stover for sure. So those 4 are the big ones. But there could be some other guys that jump above those other guys. But I really like the call out on Sanat. I think he could be someone that you don't even think about, and then he
next thing he's a beast.
Yeah, exactly. So
I woke up in beast mode.
We had some of those this year. So,
all right, you guys want to get into Week 11 matchups?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. On bye, we got Patriots, Colts, Falcons, and Saints. Okay. So Thursday night, we're starting off with Bengals at Ravens. It sounds like we're not going to have any T. Is Lamar disappointing to you guys?
So I saw that, and I initially was like, that's kind of surprising because I don't think so. He's right now, he's the quarterback 3 in fantasy scoring. But then I started looking at it. He's had 4 like awesome weeks, and then just a bunch of just like borderline okay. So I think he's one of those guys when you look at his numbers, you're like, no, he's not disappointing. Why would you say that? But if you actually have him on your rosters and you're looking at his week-to-week points, you're like, I wish I would have gotten more for him.
Yeah. And I think the big bummer is that he's not really getting touchdowns, unfortunately. Right. So I think that's the big thing right now. Yeah. So if these okay games, if he would have had at least maybe 1 touchdown, would have been even, obviously even better. So I think, he's obviously disappointing because where we get him, what we think of him, what we want, out of him every week. But I think, with him being QB3 in scoring, you can't really ask for more.
Yeah, I saw
you can
talking about it in the Discord this week, so I was kind of curious what your guys' thoughts were on it. It sounds like kind of is once you dive deeper into the numbers, you kind of realize that it hasn't been all that great for Lamar this year, or as great as you would like it to be, I should say.
Because like he's had 5 rushing touchdowns in the season, which you think like in 10, 11 games, you're like, oh, that's sick. But 4 of those came in 2 games. Like he had 2 twice in back-to-back weeks. So it's like it doesn't. Unfortunately, you can't stack the points. They don't carry over from week to week. So
right. Would be nice. Steelers at Browns. DTR just coming out here to be the sacrificial lamb to that Pittsburgh defense. Jalen Warren is now named the starter in Pittsburgh.
Why did it take that long?
Yeah, does it change anything for him?
Why did it? I mean, I think Najee's still going to get work. It's just Warren's probably going to get the 1A as opposed to the 1B now. But I mean, I think anyone with a pair of eyes could tell you that Jalen Warren's been the best running back in Pittsburgh all season. So I don't know why it took him this long, but I'm glad they finally did correct that. And then can you start any of the Browns skill players with DTR at quarterback against a good defense? Like you probably have to start like Cooper, right? But
so the 2 guys I was thinking of is Amari Cooper and Njoku. You kind of how bad tight end is. You like unless you have a guy that you feel really good about and the matchup is good. But I feel like those 2 guys are going to be okay, but I don't feel good about it.
Same.
Yeah. I think you have to start them. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Moving along, we gotta move kind of quickly. Sorry, guys. Raiders at Dolphins. We got Jacoby Myers. Is he dead now that AOC is starting?
I mean, so here are the stats, and you tell me. So in the 3 games that Aiden O'Connell's played quarterback for the Raiders, Jacoby Myers has averaged like a little over 3 targets a game and 30 yards. So
dead.
He's dead. He has a pulse, but he not good.
Barely.
Right. Now we're just waiting for him to get into a better opportunity yet again. Seems like we've been waiting for Jacoby to be in a better opportunity forever. Is Achane returning this week?
He better be. Yeah, my son is coming, and Achane is back, baby. Let's go.
This is Holler's week, baby.
This should be a good opportunity for the Dolphins to bounce back after a little bit of a rough outing over in Frankfurt.
You say that, but the Raiders have played really well, really good defense last 2 weeks. Now, granted, you can look at the opponents, and there's a narrative there, but they have been playing better. So,
and then the Raiders are what? They're 500. So I don't know.
Yeah,
The
maybe.
Dolphins don't play that well against teams that are 500 and better, so we'll see.
Yeah,
it is in Miami
true.
though, which those West Coast teams traveling east on the early morning kicks are a little tough sometimes on the body clock games. So
yeah. I think the Dolphins will bounce back well.
Same.
All right, we got Bears at Lions. Justin Fields is set to return for this one. You guys firing Justin right up?
I think you have to.
Yeah. I'm with the same. I'm in the same boat here. I mean, you don't really have unless you have 3 really good quarterbacks. I think you've been starting like Teabag and all the other guys. So I don't. All the other crappy quarterbacks. So I feel good
man.
I feel good about putting Fields back in, and he's been solid. He's been solid when he's played this year, and so and I feel really good about DJ Moore with Fields coming back.
So this is going to hurt Cole Kmet though. So Cole Kmet's been awesome the last few weeks, and this is it just feels it doesn't throw to him for whatever reason. So that's a bummer.
He's only got eyes for one.
That's DJ.
Honestly, that's a good one, Wes.
It is.
Fields or Dobbs this week?
I would start
honestly Dobbs.
Yeah.
And I feel gross.
I'd wait a week. Yeah,
I feel more comfortable
and see how the thumb is and all that jazz. Yep. Honestly,
I think we know what we're going to get from Dobbs. He may regress a little bit, but I still think with that offense, I feel more comfortable with Dobbs for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you think Monty and Gibbs can coexist? I know they did last weekend, but they
did great this last week. Yeah. I saw on the St. Browns have like a little podcast, and they had Gibbs on there this week, and they were saying that he did get subbed out at the goal line, and then I guess Monty was like, "Nah, man, you got this, bro," and let him go back in. So that was kind of cool. I don't know. I think they'll be fine. Like it seems like I think Gibbs is going to get more of like a true split as opposed to earlier in the season when it was just Monty time.
Sure.
So I think I would fire both up with confidence.
Yes, I was going to say confidence. That O-line is so good. So I feel like, that you feel really good about playing both of those for sure.
Yeah, Greg hopes the Broncos shut Dobbs down. Anyway, maybe we see Donovan Peoples-Jones this weekend. I don't know. I haven't heard much on that front, even being a Lions.
Who cares?
Yeah, even if he is. Yeah.
Okay, we got Titans at Jags. Do you think the Jags offense can find any footing?
So let me read you guys a little stat that I found this week that I found was interesting, and I wish I had the source for it, and I'm sorry if whoever I sold this from. So in standard quarterback scoring, Trevor Lawrence is the only quarterback who has played more than 6 games to not top 20 fantasy points in a single game.
Man,
brutal.
He'd be rough. Jaguar Jesus is not fulfilling the prophecy. Yes.
Go ahead, Aller.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Titans have an okay defense, but I don't know. I'm not putting any money on the Jags to have that offense be better. But if there was a time, I would assume it would happen against the Titans, right?
Yeah,
so if it's not gonna happen this weekend,
yeah,
if it's not gonna happen this weekend, then I don't feel confident with Trevor Lawrence the rest of the season.
Especially because I don't know if any of you guys started any Trevor Lawrence last week, but my God, did he single-handedly just tank?
Yeah.
Like,
I got
4 or 5 of my teams.
Yep. Yes, I got negative points in a couple leagues. That was lovely.
Felt bad, man.
I didn't expect to ever see the negative points from old T-Law there.
Yep.
I don't want to get too much into T-Law. We can save that for the offseason probably. Chargers at Packers. Is Jaden Reed taking over Christian Watson?
Yes.
So
okay.
This is more like Christian Watson should have never gotten the draft capital he did. He ran really, 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 really fast.
Big man run fast.
And
he lathers up butter before the games, puts the butter on his hands. And he tosses the ball up and gives it to the other team.
His hands are bad, and he doesn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback throwing him the ball anymore. Yep. So it's not great. He needs a quarterback to prop him up as opposed to the other way around.
Yep.
Are you guys ready for the tough question?
Yes.
J-Mo or Christian Watson?
Oh, I mean, I hate Christian Watson, so I'm going to go J-Mo, but
I will take an empty roster spot.
Wow, McSpanky.
Oh, I love it.
But in all seriousness, I'll take Christian Watson.
Yeah.
Okay.
I personally just
fine.
Christian Watson, somebody I've totally always been out on, and I don't have any shares. And whenever I say that in like some random leagues, and people are like, "You have 0 shares of Christian Watson," I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't need that guy on my team.
Don't like some guys. It happens. It's better to plant your flag than just be out here trying to manage everybody.
Don't draft wide receivers because they go to a good team. Draft good wide receivers.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've talked about it before.
Exactly
he had 2 games where he had all his points last year. Right?
Yeah.
That's
really
all that's where it's been.
That Cowboys game.
For the Cowboys game, yeah.
Yep. I don't love Jaden Reed, but I was just gonna say I don't love Jaden Reed, but he is starting to have a good rapport with Jordan Love. Personally, I think I said it when we had the QB. I regret it now, but he was number 20 on my QBs, and he's number 40, right? There's only 32, but he's number 40. But not really, but yeah, I like the rapport he has with Jordan Love. So I feel like he's starting to creep up as that wide receiver number 1. The guy that I do like a lot is the tight end. His name is
Musgrave.
Yeah, Musgrave. Thank you. I like him a lot, and
he just gets hurt all the time.
He does.
Like even at college in Oregon State, he never finished the season, which was concerning.
Keenan was day to day this week. He was in and out of the game on Sunday, and he looked fine. So
he'll play.
We got Cardinals at Texans. In game 2, what are you guys looking for from Kyler?
Honestly, he looked a lot better than I thought he was going to. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that one play where he kind of was like scrambling around the pocket, and then he like made like a nice like 12-yard run for a first down. Like he moved so much better than most guys coming off an ACL. I was pretty impressed.
He did, and whenever he runs, to me, it makes me laugh, just because like I think of the GIF
running style.
Or the emote that we have in the Discord of the little small Tyler. It's just, and oh my gosh, it's hilarious. But in all seriousness, he looked really good. That team, they looked a lot better. And so I think we're gonna we'll see a little bit more passing like yards this week. He had like 250 something, I think it was.
Yeah, and you know what I like too is Trey McBride was he was still quite involved. Like he was getting good work from Josh Dobbs, and Kyler got him over 100 yards for the first time this season. So I
think he had like 8 targets too, which is awesome. And on
Trey McBride season is upon us.
Yeah.
Ew.
Praise be.
Nico's. You guys know if Nico's healthy this week?
I think I saw he practiced today.
He practiced. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Damian Pierce, is he healthy?
I think he practiced as well. I didn't see anything. I have a couple shares of him, unfortunately, and I was looking at it earlier, and I have him. Unfortunately, I have to put him in a couple spots. But in your next question, I think Devin Singletary is taking over there, and he's looking. The last couple games especially last week, looked really good.
Yeah,
Singletary's a good running back.
Yeah, everybody refuses to give him the work that he should have, but that's neither here nor there. Cowboys at Panthers. Just pray for Bryce in this one. That's all you can do for his sake. And how many years do you guys think the Panthers set themselves back trading for Bryce?
A lot.
They gave up another top 5 pick. They sent away DJ Moore. Gosh, I bet Bryce really wishes he could throw to somebody like DJ Moore.
Especially because I don't think Bryce Young is the long-term answer in Carolina. I know it's early, but he has yet to do anything that made me think, yes, he's going to be in the league more than like 3 years. So
yeah,
it's really bad. So
yeah, the whole team is like the offensive line's not very good, but you would like to see some more from him, right? For you to feel, you would feel confident in him being the long-term answer. And so I don't know. I mean, it sets them back quite a few years. I think maybe 3 to 5 years for sure. And what it would have been very interesting to see how it all shook out if they did not trade there and they just stayed. Because what did they have? Pick 3, I think it was.
They had 9.
9. Okay,
quite a bit.
Yeah.
So they obviously wouldn't have gotten the quarterback, but I don't know. I don't think
should have just traded for Josh Dobbs.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. I mean, what are we all doing here? We're just picking up garbage off the scrap heap, Jake Ferguson's future. How do you guys feel about that? Feeling pretty good about it? I mean, the Cowboys drafted Luke Schoonmaker this past year, so they've been addressing tight end for a few years now. They also recently drafted Peyton Hendershot.
They always draft a bunch of tight ends, though, man. And I think Ferguson's probably the guy. Like, Schoonmaker is good. I think Hendershot, I think, is more of a blocker than he is a receiver. Schoonmaker is the one that I don't entirely know what they're going to do with him. I think I'd have to look up Ferguson's contract, but I think that he got drafted not that long ago, so he's probably still in a contract another year or two. So I feel pretty confident with him.
Yeah, I like him.
Hendershot played with Penix at Indiana, but that's neither here nor there.
Interesting.
I'm serious. Look it up.
Wow. I do like Ferguson in the future. Like how bad, like we said it before, but how bad tight end is. I think he's a good, tight end 10 through 12. And he's going to get you some numbers. It could be some games where he is better than the top, like in the top 10. So I like him, especially like next year in the near future.
Sure. Giants at Commanders. I don't even know what to say about this game.
Sam Howell. That's all you got to say. B-Rob and Sam Howell. Boom. Let's go. Move on. Love them both.
All right. Move along. Afternoon slate here. Bucks at 49ers. With the return of Trent Williams and Debo, so is the return of Brock Purdy.
Shocker. You get 2 all-pros back on your offense. The next thing you know, your quarterback plays better.
Right. It's weird.
Did you see when Trent Williams was running down and like
that dude that turned around and ran away.
Yeah, so good.
Oh my Lord.
That was my favorite.
I love that, dude. I saw that clip and I was like, bro, there ain't no way that grown man turned around and ran from him.
Just like dive at his ankles, make it look like you're trying. Just like, I tripped. Shoot.
That's one where he's going to get chewed out in the film room. And all the guys are going to be like, man, what were you doing?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to face down. That's for sure. You guys expect anything from the Bucs offense?
I think Evans will have his moments, but I'm not expecting too much. I think Rashad White's probably the one who's probably going to take the biggest hit this week.
Yeah. I mean, I think the offense, the passing is going to be okay. Unfortunately, Chris Godwin, we haven't gotten much of from him. Yeah. Baker's going basically just straight to Mike Evans, but I think the Bucs will kind of stay around in this game. Obviously, I think it's by the end of it. Get rid of CMC. He didn't score. He let everybody down.
What a
bench him. Yeah, bench him for sure.
Get rid of that guy.
Jets
right.
at Bills.
Yeah,
bad. What's up with
the Bills?
Josh Allen, my God.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Josh Allen plays bad against like mediocre defenses like Denver Broncos, and now he's gonna have to play a really good defense in the Jets that he's already played poorly against. Do you think that Joe Brady stepping in for Ken Dorsey changes those fortunes, or it's just a lost season?
It can't hurt, but like Josh Allen's not in his mindset right now. He's not in a good place from what you can see. Like he's throwing interceptions left and right. Stephon Diggs is clearly unhappy. That there's some squeaky wheels in Buffalo, and it's showing. Like they have a really good roster, but they are not a good football team right now.
Yep.
No, they are.
I think if there's more losses coming up, I think that head coach is going to be fired, and a lot of turnover next year.
Yeah, there's some changes that need to be made there for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Too much talent to be having a 500 record.
Yeah. Well, other than Kincaid and Diggs, though, man, like really, the other pass catchers are pretty lackluster. I know Gabe Davis has had his moments, but like that was like one game against the Chiefs 2 years ago.
I've never liked
game it was, man.
Yeah, that was a sweet game. Yeah, too bad you're not getting points for that one still.
I was.
Seahawks. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick, guys. Yeah, they definitely need a second wide receiver, and if I was Diggs, I'd be upset as well because everyone knows they're gonna try to throw the ball to Diggs, and the other guy can't catch the ball. Nobody else can catch the ball. I mean, Kincaid is good, but just cover Diggs, and then you guys are good. You're gonna the other team's gonna win. Gabe Davis can't do anything.
One of those Allen interceptions was 100% Gabe Davis's fault.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been a catch, and he just that was bad.
Bloop.
This is something for the offseason, but I think that go out and get T. Higgins.
Oh, baby.
Wow. That'd be crazy. Seahawks at Rams, return of the toughest man in the NFL, Mr. Matthew Stafford.
Stafford, baby.
I was wondering who that was.
Oh, were you really?
No, I knew who it was.
Oh. I thought I might trick you guys with that one. Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, and Nakua Matata.
That's right.
He's dealing with a little knee thing, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll be all right. He learned from
tough guy.
Stafford. Yeah, he learned from Stafford.
Hope so. I hope it runs through that team. The Stafford toughness.
Yep.
You guys think the Seahawks offense is going to get shut down like week 1?
I hope not. I think the Rams were feeling themselves a little bit more earlier in the season, and I think they've kind of regressed to who they are. So I think Seahawks should be fine.
I do. I also, I'm a big, obviously a big Rams fan, but I think this is going to be a good game just because NFC West is always play really well, and the Rams always play really well against the Seahawks. It's at home, but I don't know. I could see it going either way. What do you guys think of Sharps out touching?
I want to talk about it. That's why I didn't put it on the notes.
It's dark days for Ron right now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll
see what happens.
I don't know. Concerning. It's been a bit of a trend here.
So I know it's become. I suppose that Walker's better.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think Sharps is good as well, right? And so Walker's better. I think he's obviously we've talked about it before, is more the home run threat, but I don't know. I think it should just be more of an even split in my opinion, and I think they could honestly use both of them.
Well, they were winning games when they were feeding Kenneth 30 times a game. I'll just say that
they were.
But I don't even know if they've won or lost last week. Anyway, Sunday Night Football. Vikings at Broncos. Vikings at Broncos. Is JJ coming back for this one?
I think so. Yeah. Right. I do hate when guys are coming off of like a big injury and then they are play on like Sunday Night Football or like Monday Night Football because you're like, well, I gotta kind of make my call. But I think you gotta. I mean, obviously, if he plays, you're starting him. I think he's gonna play. And then him.
The last 2 weeks he has been.
Yeah, man.
He's
definitely gonna start somewhere next year. That's for sure.
Is he?
I don't think so.
Here's my problem with him: is this strikes me so much of like you guys remember that Case Keenum like magical playoff run?
Yeah,
probably like
the Minnesota Miracle. Yeah, Stephon Diggs was part of that. Yeah.
I just am very worried that this is a nice thing, but I would be very weary of buying him in the offseason.
Yep.
I think he starts as like a I think he gets like the Gardner Minshew type deal that comes in with Anthony Richardson, I think we all expected to see Gardner, but Anthony was a little bit further along. I think that's the opportunity that's going to be handed to Josh Dobbs. You and a rookie.
Yeah, I like that call out, but I just see him as a really good backup, right? And he's going to step in when anybody gets injured. So he's going to be an expensive backup, that's for sure. So that's why I think that could happen where if they get a team gets a rookie and hey, let's go bring in Josh Dobbs. Maybe they have a really good defense and their offense is pretty solid. And, but yeah, I'm with you, Spanky. I don't see him starting next year.
All right. Eagles at Chiefs. Anything important here?
Just that it's finally a good game on Monday Night Football. That's the important thing.
Hey, we got a couple good island games. We got Eagles Chiefs, and then
good.
Yeah.
Respectfully, it was not.
Respectfully, it was not. It's great for me.
Hey, it got homie fired at a Las Vegas site.
Yeah, it did. You're welcome.
Best game of the season.
Yeah.
What can I say?
But
they're making a live action Moana. Sorry,
I did know that. I'm also in the Disney Pixar.
Exciting news in our household.
I think it's gonna be a good game. I think fantasy, it's like same guys you always start. You're gonna start. Like I don't think there's any craziness going on here.
No, I couldn't think of much for these guys. You guys want to get in the 2-minute drive here?
Let's do it.
All right. I hated all of the underdogs this week. The only thing that I think I would get anywhere near is the Steelers are underdogs to the Cleveland Browns. But that Cleveland
are they still?
I don't know if they still are. When I looked this morning, they were.
They might be just because that defense is so good. Yeah,
right. The Browns defense is so good, and the Steelers offense has been lackluster to say the least.
Okay.
That's all I have for you guys.
I like it. Today I looked through Underdog and I looked at some player props and I put together a little 3-player prop parlay that I liked. So here's what I found: CJ Stroud over 254.5 passing yards. Jared Goff under 272.5 passing yards. This one mostly because I think the Lions are going to be up big in that game. They're going to run the ball a lot. Not an indictment on Goff. And then Keenan Allen under 85.5 receiving yards. I think he's going to get shadowed a little bit, and he's not fully healthy. And the Chargers on the road, they're not the most reliable team. So
yeah,
that's what I got.
I like that prop. Maybe I'll have to steal it. So I don't know if you were
lose money together.
Yeah, anybody? That's all I do when I'm putting on Underdog props. If you weren't here in the beginning, where my wife and I are still waiting on baby Puka. That's what Ron and Spanky have been calling him. But the wife is doing and I just threw a little question out there. Is he waiting for Ron's birthday, or if he's waiting for Friday, which is 17th, Puka's number?
Ron's birthday's tomorrow, so I'll be the Discord and make sure you give him some birthday gifts.
Yep,
it's tomorrow. God, just
slide in his DMs.
In the DMs, though.
Turning 50 years old. Good for you, Ron.
Yeah, wow. As the elderly statesman of this podcast, get off my lawn. All right, you guys got anything else?
No, let's get out of here.
All right, let's get out of here. Yeah.
Peace.
See you.
See ya.